Today, Espejo and I are going to head out on his first trail ride. I always go alone on these first rides. I find that it's actually easier. I don't have that variable of another horse and rider and whatever they might be up to, what mood they might be in that day, to have to deal with my young guy. So he thinks this is pretty interesting to be out in this new venue. So I'm just fooling with him here, getting him to give me his hindquarters and then his forehand before we head off. So my goal here really is for the two of us to go together. So since he's kind of rushy here, getting out in front of me, I'm just going to fool around with him a bit and do some turns, get him between my legs until he decides to come back to me. So turning and reconnecting to his feet allows me to bring him back to me without holding him. It's just using all that energy and giving him a job. So this energy is clearly something that I actually desire. It's like I said though, I just want him going with me. So he kind of comes back to me and we go on for a piece. So really though, he's pretty interested in what's going on and where we're going. He's not worried because he trusts me. I've always seen him through every spot that I've put him in. But he's thinking, wow, we got some wide open spaces here. We could cover some ground quickly. So that day will come. But for now, like I said, just want him to go with me. Of course, a nice forward moving walk is really desirable. When I head out on the trail, I really don't like a horse that's dogging it at the walk. So here he's moving out, but we are going together. Now he's kind of wondering if maybe we shouldn't do it a little faster. So same thing. It just gives me an opportunity to fool on things. I in no way see this as a negative. So I just tacked him up and brought him out here and got on him. So he's fresh and full of energy and in a strange environment. So here I'm just fooling around with turning in between my legs. Every time I redirect him, he's got to pull the birdie back in. So of course when the birdie goes flying out there, a long way away, his feet are going to want to join the birdie, so then he starts to rush. So by turning him, it's kind of an artful way of bringing his birdie back without holding him. So holding him is a trap. The horse is always going to fight that, and it just becomes a way of life. But here, every time he rushes and I ask him to turn, what's happening is I'm reconnecting with that hind foot, and the day will come where I can just ask him to come back to me by picking up the reins, riding his feet, and he'll shorten stride. get back on his hindquarters again. So if you've ever watched horses out in a pasture, they don't do a lot of straight lines. They do a lot of weaving back and forth as they graze. So with a green horse, just going straight really starts to draw the birdie away further and further. So by turning him back and forth, left and right, between my legs, he just has to get used to things. So, and maybe start watching where he puts his feet a little better. So this is just right. Now he's getting a little tempted about this grass that's almost at nose height. So of course, this part is a little simpler. As I start to head towards home, that really attracts the birdie back to all his buddies back at the homestead. And since we're headed the same direction, the birdie really wants to fly off. And this is a phenomenon, of course, that just about everybody out on the trail has had to deal with, if not every time they go out, at least a few times. So I'm really aware of that as I bring this green guy out for the first time, that I'm going to want to fool with that and not let it get set in as one of those problem spots that is hard to get rid of. So we are starting to swing towards home now. And so he starts trotting out, and I just turn it into a big trot circle. So I look at it as a game that I'm teaching him, that he's going to start to see the pattern, that as he starts to head home, and he's taken me rather than going with me, we just go into this trot circle, and what do you know? We're headed the other way again. And then he comes back to his nice walk and pressure off again. But he's never being punished. I don't blame him for doing this. So now I'm not having to do full circles. As I feel him getting in front of me again, I'm going back into weaving him back and forth in a nice snake trail. And no, sorry, grazing is not the deal here. So I'm trying to stay in range of the camera here, but also I generally don't take a really long ride the first time I take him out because I want him to realize we're not just heading away for forever, never to return again. Now he's kind of seen something that looks a little odd to him. So we'll start fooling with that. So it's the same thing. It's drawing his birdie off. So I'm going to just make his body busy, turning him back and forth, and he can just kind of keep looking at it. And then we move on again. So of course you can't see what it is he's responding to. Turns out that it is the only sagebrush on our property. It's kind of a blue-gray plant that was kind of hiding behind another bigger tree, and he thought, wow, that looks really odd. So in the end, of course, it's no big deal, but he's just never seen it before. So I'm trying to let him know, it's no big deal. So here we go, right on by. Like this picture. Ears up, happy boy. With the mountains in the background. What do you mean? This is the end? Huh, who knew? Well, that was fun. For everybody. Really good job. Really good job.